Now, this might surprise you, but the truth is, there are millions of ways to get wealthy, to get rich, to make a lot of money. There are a lot of books on it, there are a lot of courses on it. But the real challenge is to stay wealthy. You may be able to get wealthy, but what does it take to stay wealthy? That's the topic we'll be discussing about today. Hello guys, welcome to Book Ideas, where we tell you interesting ideas from interesting books. So, today's idea on staying wealthy, how to stay wealthy, is the idea that we are picking from the book The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is a fantastic book which has a lot of studies, which has a lot of evidence to tell you on how to view money, how to manage money. So if you want to get this book, I highly recommend it, by the way, very good book. You can click the link in the description. With that said, let's begin. So, in one of the chapters on staying wealthy, Morgan Housel starts off with the story of two amazing people. The first person is called Jesse Livermore. So, he was someone who was very wealthy. He was a great stock market trader, and at his time, when he became a stock market trader, he became a stock market trader at a time where stock market trader wasn't a known career. It was not a known career opportunity. It's like being an entrepreneur when entrepreneurship wasn't so cool. Now everybody's talking about entrepreneurship, but it was like being an entrepreneur when there was not much hype about it. And by 1929, Jesse Livermore was already one of the most well-known investors in the world. And the stock market crash that happened that year actually made him a legend. How? Well, in 1929, October 1929, the stock market's value was wiped out. It was the days which was later called as Black Monday, Black Tuesday, and Black Thursday. His wife, hearing about this news, she was also hearing about a lot of stock traders who were taking their own lives, who were picking the path of suicide, and she started getting very tense. Her mother, who was staying with them, she also went into other room. She started shouting and all that. And after a while, doorbell rang, and Jesse Livermore was there, and his wife Dorothy met him, right? Like, she saw him and he was calm, he was relaxed. So then what happened was, as she and her children saw Jesse, he said that in a stroke of genius and luck, he had been short the market, being stocks would decline. He betted that the stock would decline, and he took an action depending on that. And excuse me, because of that, he made a ton of money. In fact, as soon as he told that, his wife asked, you know what, so you mean that we are not ruined? And his reply was, no darling, I've just had my best ever trading day. We are fabulously rich and can do whatever we like. So she went to the other room, she consoled her mother to not shout and all that. And well, just like that, he was worth, if it's equivalent to today's value, he was worth about $3 billion. $3 billion. Then, that was one side of the story. On another side, there was a person called as Abraham Germansky. So he was a multimillionaire. He got rich through real estate, and he wanted to get into stock market. He wanted to make a lot of money, and he put in his investments. And 1929, when the stock market crash happened, he had invested a lot of money. It did not work out in his way. He was actually reported missing. Now, about Abraham Germansky, that was the end of the story. They don't know what happened to him. But one thing is clear from these two stories. Both Abraham Germansky and Jesse Livermore, they both were very good at getting rich. Jesse got rich by being a stock trader and then invested in stock market. And Abraham, he got rich through real estate. But one thing that's common was they both were equally bad at maintaining that wealth. In fact, later on, the person who did well, I told you, right, Livermore, later on, he actually lost his wealth. because he got lucky, he invested a lot more money, stock market and all that, and he lost a lot of money. He tried to make big bets like that and he lost it. Which is why you can kind of understand they both were equally bad at staying wealthy. Now, how do you actually stay wealthy? What's the secret about staying wealthy? To understand how to stay wealthy, you can understand by this instance of Michael Moritz. Michael Moritz, he was the billionaire head of Sequoia Capital, and he was asked by Charlie Rose. Okay, Charlie Rose was an interviewer. He asked, why was Sequoia Capital so successful? Now, if you don't know, Sequoia Capital is a firm that it's a VC firm, venture capital firm. They invest in startups. Now, they asked, why are they so successful? Michael Moritz, said that he mentioned that a lot of VC firms succeeds for 5 to 10 years, right? Typically. But Sequoia has prospered for 4 decades. Now, the reason for that was, he said, I think we have always been afraid of going out of business. That was the reason why Sequoia Capital has been in business for 4 decades, 40 years. And Rose asks, really? So it's fear? Only the paranoid survive? And Moritz said, there's a lot of truth to that. We assume that tomorrow won't be like yesterday. We can't afford to rest on our laurels. We can't be complacent. We can't assume that yesterday's success translates into tomorrow's good fortune. Now, from this, you can kind of understand that survival is what helps you stay wealthy. So here are 2 reasons that he gives why survival mindset actually works. The first is simple. There are very few games that are worth betting your life on, right? You could bet your life, you could bet all your wealth on a couple of decisions, and only a couple of them are worth pursuing. A lot of them is luck. That's the first one. Second one is compounding. Now, if you don't know what compounding is, in one of the videos, you can click somewhere here. You'll learn about the secret to Warren Buffett's wealth, how he made his billions. Now, in general, compounding is something that takes a long period of time. If you can sustain for a long period of time, if you can survive as any company or any business, you can actually figure out a way to eventually do well. You'll eventually pick up goodwill. You will eventually be able to succeed. And another example he gives of this is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are 2 people who invest together who made billions. Now, there was a third member with them who was equally smart as Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and his name was Rick Guerin. And when he was asked, when interviewers or in one of the interview or some kind of a speech kind of a place, when he was asked why he wasn't there anymore with them, Warren Buffett said, we were patient. Me and Charlie were patient. But Rick was not patient. He tried to do big bets. He tried to go out there. He wanted to make money quick. And which is why he actually lost. He actually ended up not making as much money. So with that said, guys, one of the best ways to stay wealthy is, in fact, you know what? I'll end this in 2 sentences that Morgan Housel starts off the chapter with. He said, there are a million ways to get wealthy and plenty of books on how to do so. But there's only one way to stay wealthy. Some combination of frugality and paranoia. With that said, guys, this is how you stay wealthy. You stay frugal, you be careful, you work for longevity, or you try to stay in the game for a long time rather than trying to make quick few gains. With that said, if you felt like you learned something of value, something that you could apply, something that could help you plan your finances a lot better, then leave a like, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know more ideas from this book, if you feel like you don't want to read books or anything, you can check out the playlist. There are videos from this book and many other books, all the interesting ideas that you can get straightforward. With that said, thank you so much for watching. This is Abhishek, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.